buy and hold investor here for a little over 3 years.
All right, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Leveling Up Book Club, where we read amazing books. And not only do we read amazing books, but we implement those books into our lives and to our businesses. We are a group of entrepreneurs, and we read books such as Building a Story Brand, The Compound Effect. We just finished Limitless. If you haven't read Limitless, get this book and then go to YouTube and you can watch our meetings. We had 4 meetings on this, 5 including the intro. This book was simply amazing. It teaches you how to speed read. It teaches you how to learn better, brain health, all kinds of awesome things. The book before that we read was Atomic Habits. This book is simply amazing. It'll, obviously it's about habits, but actually Jim Quick in Limitless references Atomic Habits at least like 3 or 4 times. So this book was great. Learned a lot. Again, you can find this on YouTube. Cashflow Chris is my YouTube. Traction. We implemented Traction into our businesses. We've done Traction twice. This book's amazing. If you're a small business owner, you want to get Traction. If you are into any type of sales, you need to learn negotiations. That's where we read Never Split the Difference. You can find that on YouTube as well. And lastly, this one's not on YouTube. We're going to run this one again sometime this year. Profit First, a different way to look at accounting. So my name is Chris, and I have been your host for the last few books, and I am happy to announce that we have somebody who's volunteered to run this month's book of the month. So this month we are working, as you guys know, the 4-Hour Work Week. So this is a book that came out, I believe, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So a lot of us have read this book, but I don't know about you guys. I read this book 10 years ago. I'm a much, much different person than I was than when I was 32 years old. So I have a really good feeling that I'm going to be learning new things from this book, and not only learning new things, but seeing it from a different perspective, seeing it from my 42-year-old eyes instead of my 32-year-old eyes, because personally I was different and my business was way different. So 4-Hour Work Week, let's get it kicked off. I want to introduce Pat Barman out of Cleveland, Ohio. So I met Pat a couple weeks ago, about a month and a half, 2 months now, when we were out there in Cleveland buying some properties. And he's a big fan of reading, and he actually volunteered to host this month. So I appreciate that, Pat. And you got everything you need, I believe. So why don't you just take over?
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. It's great to be here. It's funny that this is the book that we picked out to do. This is something that I actually started to read in college. And back then I wasn't much of a reader, so I never finished it. And I got into it again like 5 years ago when I was still working a 9-to-5. I read it, thought it was interesting, but never kind of did anything with it. Now I am working on my own, entrepreneur. I'm in real estate. I'm an agent. So just reading it over the last couple of days, it's awesome. Like, I'm really excited to be our book, and then to read it again and go over it all with everyone and get your thoughts and what you think about it. So let's get started. All right, cool. All right, just a few reminders before we start. This is a club. We meet every Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, out here 1 o'clock on the East Coast, my time. Make sure you have a book during the discussion. Everything is going to be live on Zoom. We can record these as well and put everything on YouTube like we've been doing as well. It's interactive, so I don't want to just talk for an hour. I want you guys to talk. I want to know what you got out of it, your perspective of it, kind of make it a lot more fun. You learn a lot better by talking and getting perspectives on it. Do the work, show up, make sure you read before. If for some reason you can't still show up, I want to have everyone here and talking about it. If that happens, and read the next day, but we want you to be active and to read and be involved. No distractions, don't be on your phone, texting, Instagramming, all that, and keep an open mind. I mean, these are different ideas. Tim Ferriss is a brilliant guy, and he's not a typical thought process type of guy. So just keep an open mind, and we'll have fun with this whole thing. So this is the book. Mine looks a little bit different. I got this on Amazon. I think it was 15 bucks or something. But has anyone read this book before in the past? They have an opinion of it? Chris? Elizabeth?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read it again. Yeah, I read it like 10 years ago, and I love the concepts, but I really didn't implement much of it.
Yeah, same here. What about you, Elizabeth?
Yes, same here. I read it about, 8 years ago. And I'm in a very much different stage now in my life. And so I think the impacts will be a lot different.
Definitely. So the tagline is escape the 9-to-5, live anywhere, join the new rich. Step-by-step guide. The luxury lifestyle teaches how Tim went from 40 grand per year and 80 hours per week to 40,000 per month and 4 hours per week. So when I knew we were doing this book, I watched some of his YouTube clips. He has a TED Talk that's pretty interesting, and his story talks about starting a business and letting it kind of run his life. He was making great money, but he was working 80 hours a week to the point of exhaustion. He was on uppers, he was on downers. His girlfriend dumped him because he just was always working all the time. And he decided enough was enough, and he's going to Europe. He didn't care like what the repercussions were, he was going to go. So they talk about how he made the decision to do it and how he actually implemented it, sold his business, and then spent 1.5 years traveling. And then from that, he got all his ideas for this book, which is a great book. He talks about how to outsource your life overseas to virtual assistants, eliminate 50% of your work in just 2 days using his simple principles, and how to trade long haul career for short work burst for mini retirements. The myth that people have is you work until you're 60, then you retire. For most people, it doesn't work out. They get laid off. They don't have enough money. If it does work out, they're not the happiest people. So to kind of bust that myth and to have a better and new way to do it is a pretty cool concept. So that's some of the basics that we go over in this one. Why read this book? It is about original thinking, living on your own terms. Getting a job and working your ass off until you retire is one way to do it. Working your ass off and building a business, 80 hours a week is another way to do it. But there's an option C, there's another way to do it. This book suggests that the new rich aim for excitement and profit throughout their whole lives, having the freedom and options to live like a millionaire, even without having the money in the bank. It's about optimizing your life and your time and getting the most out of everything. And really the most important thing is time. You can always make more money, but if you're poor in time, you can't do what you want to do. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I know a lot of people that have tons of money, but they're miserable. I was one of those people. I made a lot of money doing different things, but I never saw my girlfriend. I was overweight. I wasn't healthy. So the most important thing is having time to do what you want to do. And this book kind of helps you with all that. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm excited about it because I'm getting ready to implement what he teaches. Our kids, with this COVID crap, it's disrupting our lives. And instead of feeling bad for myself, I want to kind of take advantage of it and make this some of the best times of our lives. So since our kids have been forced to go online learning, there's nothing keeping me here. Like most of my business is run virtually anyways. And so if I don't need to be in Phoenix, then that means I can kind of be anywhere. So the plan is 30 days in Costa Rica this fall, assuming Costa Rica starts letting Americans in. So our second one might be Barbados because I know they're letting people in. But yeah, just exactly what he's teaching. That's the kind of life that I want to be able to live.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
So are you going to hire some virtual assistants for your kids' learning?
No, they're said, I don't know. That's not a bad idea, Paul. Actually, I kind of like that. Virtual teachers, that's not a bad idea because the schools pretty much, we're on our own for the most part. You know, the teachers will be there daily, but only for a little bit of time, and there's not going to be a lot of direction. We don't think it's going to go well. So yeah, so I guess taking charge and hiring our own homeschool teachers would be a good way to do it. Good idea, my man.
This reminds me of Rich Dad, author Robert Kiyosaki. He went away to write his book. So I could. It's interesting that Tim like got away, kind of got his mind to put all these thoughts together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get away from your mundane 9 to 5 to kind of expand your mind, and that's what he did exactly. And he wrote this book and several other ones that are interesting too. He's got a really good podcast, but it definitely sparked a turn in his life, and it's awesome. Hopefully, you can do the same for all of us here.
I think virtual work and virtual learning is, I mean, that's the future. I think coronavirus has accelerated it. But, you know, everybody's talking about the death of commercial real estate because nobody's going to be going in their offices anymore. Everybody's going to be working remotely. So if you can work remotely, then you can kind of live wherever you want, ideally.
Yeah. And, you know, I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and it's really cheap to live here. So I have friends that are living out on the East Coast, New York, DC, and they're coming here. They're like, I'm just going to buy a house here. Can you help me buy a house? It's so much cheaper. I can work from home anyway. So why would I be paying rent $3,000 a month to live there? Or I can live in Cleveland like a king for $2,000 a month and own a house. So it definitely is the future, and it's bringing us all together. There's people from all over the country here right now. And it's cool that we can, you know, meet and talk and, you know, hopefully grow together, which is awesome. Well, that's really it for this week. This is our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Looking forward to doing this with anyone. Anyone have anything else they want to throw in before we close it for the day?
No, I just want to.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you first off for even holding the meeting. I have a bit of tonsillitis, so it's difficult for me to talk, but go ahead.
I want to know, Chris, what have you, like, how have you grown by hosting these books?
Great question. Yeah, man, I've had to completely absorb the material, right? I mean, because I'm leading the class, and not only do I need to go through the slideshows, but I have to, you know, I think most of what I gained was going through my notes. And so I whenever I do this book club, I double read. So most of these books, Atomic Habits and actually, no, I had already read that one. Limitless was the first one I hadn't already read. So what I do, I'm a listener. So now what I do is I buy the book and then I listen to it and I read it while I listen to it. And I just like fully absorb so much of the stuff. And it helps you read a book really fast. If you do that, you'll see that I was at like 2.8 or 280% of speed, which when you listen to it, it's right, it's super fast. But when you're listening and reading, it's actually slower than most of us read. So if you want to read a book 3 times as fast, that's been really working for me. So yeah, I've just been able to completely immerse myself in these books, and being the teacher, you have to know your material. So while you guys could maybe skip a day or not finish a chapter and all that, I can't do that. So that's how it's helped me.
Awesome. Well, real good. Well,
oh, hold on, Pat. We need to go over next week's lesson. What are we reading?
Yeah. So next week, so we're going to divide it up into 3 different sessions, not including this one. So we're going to read parts 1 and 2 for next week. And that brings me in my book up to like a page 121. But it's the first 2 parts of 4 parts. So if we can have that ready for next week, we'll go over all that.
So it'll be step 1, D is for definition, and step 2, E is for elimination. Because I think I got the newer book, and so I think it's, if you have an older copy, I think there's more in this one.
Okay.
So yeah, so but mine's only through page 94. So,
Okay.
oh wait, no, it is through 120. My bad.
Yeah, it
is through
starts at
120.
94, then it ends at 121.
Right.
But yeah, just go that far into it, and yeah, we'll do the other steps. Week 2, we'll do step 3, and then 3rd week we'll do step 4, and then we'll figure out a book for next month. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. If you need anything from me while Chris is away, maybe Chris can share my email. He'll be out of town, but if you guys want to connect or anything, have a question, shoot me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to chat with you guys.
Thank you,
All right,
Pat,
guys.
for stepping up and doing this for us. And Chris, thank you for keeping us, to me at least, you've kept me afloat during this whole COVID craziness. This club has been something I look forward to. So thank you for hosting and keeping on doing this, because it's really helped me a lot. And I feel connected to other people too, even though we're super physically disconnected. So thank you, Chris, for putting this on. I really, truly appreciate it. It's kept me afloat for sure.
Oh, that's great to hear, Elizabeth. Thanks for those kind words. I appreciate that.
And thank you for my book. I received it just on time, so thank you.
Awesome. Great. So that's another benefit, guys. So show up and you will be entered to win a free book. And, so we got Jonathan's won a couple times, Elizabeth, Stacy. So keep on reading. And then obviously, if you guys have another book that you recommend, please share it with us. The book is typically going to be business oriented, but it needs to be a booklet that is implementable. It needs to have action steps that we can actually take. We don't do theory here in Leveling Up Book Club. And let's get the group going. If you're not a part of the group, we have a page and we have a group in Facebook. Share what you're reading, share some of your key takeaways, and let's get the group going a little bit so everybody can grow together.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. I'm going to close it out. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks, y'all.
See
Have a
ya.
good weekend.
Thank you.